the invisible crown, when God takes his time on you. Good morning, beautiful souls. Thank you for being here today, for bringing your full, authentic selves into this sacred space. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Shannte Harvey, a visionary whose work is quietly revolutionizing how we think about authentic leadership, particularly for Black women. Shanta isn't just changing conversations, she's changing lives. With the spiritual wisdom of a prophet and the practical insight of someone who's walked through fire and emerged transformed, she's creating ripples that are becoming waves across communities nationwide. What struck me most about our conversation wasn't just the wisdom she shared, but the profound simplicity of her most counterintuitive insight. That true power isn't found in the relentless pursuit of titles and accolades, but in something far more revolutionary: the quiet dignity of carrying your purpose. This idea, it challenges everything our achievement obsessed culture has taught us. And that's exactly why we need to hear it. We live in a world that measures worth through metrics: followers gained, promotions secured, wealth accumulated. The message hammers at us daily: climb higher, run faster, achieve more. The crown is always just ahead, just out of reach, waiting for you to prove yourself worthy. But what if this fundamental assumption about success is deeply, tragically flawed? What if, in our desperate race to prove our value, we've been running in entirely the wrong direction? This is the question at the heart of Shannte Harvey's philosophy, and it's a question that deserves our full attention. Today, I want to explore a radical alternative to our culture's obsession with achievement for achievement's sake, an approach that doesn't reject ambition but transforms it, an approach that doesn't diminish excellence but redefines it, an approach that recognizes that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do isn't to chase the crown, but to remember you were born already wearing one. Let me be clear about something. This isn't a talk about settling for less or lowering your standards. This is about elevating your understanding of what true power actually is. In my conversation with Shante, she shared something profound about Queen Tay, founder of the Faith Plus Femininity movement. Queen Tay's journey completely upends the myth that success for Black women is about outpacing others or collecting accolades. Instead, she discovered that true power emerges when faith, femininity, and fierce ambition move as one harmonious force. She's not competing, she's restoring. She's reminding every sister listening that you are already crowned. Heaven took its time on you for a reason. Your divine purpose walking this earth. This perspective is revolutionary in its simplicity. It suggests that your calling isn't a competition, it's a divine assignment. When you walk aligned with your purpose and anchored in faith, there is no need to prove yourself or chase validation. The crown you seek is already yours. The question isn't whether you deserve it, but whether you're brave enough to wear it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds nice, but is it practical? Does this philosophy actually work in the real world where results matter and performance is measured? Let's look at the evidence. Queen Tay founded the Faith Plus Femininity movement, a platform empowering Black women to embrace both spiritual depth and professional excellence across industries from nursing to finance. She faced the stereotypes about what Black womanhood should look like professionally. She battled imposter syndrome while navigating predominantly white spaces as both a registered nurse and a trader. Her response wasn't to work twice as hard to prove herself. Instead, she built community through mentorship circles, weekly prayer calls, and financial literacy workshops tailored specifically for Black professionals. She created space for public storytelling around faith driven success. The results? Hundreds of women have reported breakthroughs, launching businesses, returning to school, negotiating higher pay, and reclaiming their sense of divine identity. After years working night shifts as an RN while day trading stocks at sunrise on Oahu beaches, Queen Tay felt called to merge her worlds, healing bodies while healing souls through inspired leadership. She's launched 3 annual retreats uniting hundreds of attendees, published devotionals read globally, and become a featured speaker at major conferences on Black entrepreneurship. Her movement has shifted conversations nationwide about what it means for Black women leaders to thrive spiritually without sacrificing ambition or authenticity. This isn't just inspirational, it's transformational. And it's happening because Queen Tay understood something profound. Restoration matters more than rivalry. Uplifting other women and speaking life into those who've forgotten their worth creates generational impact far greater than any individual achievement. But this isn't an isolated example. Consider the Divine Feminine Leadership Circles, a collective launched by young Black female entrepreneurs inspired by stories like Queen Tay's. These women created safe spaces where members nurture intuition alongside business acumen. They were facing burnout from hustle culture, cultural pressure against showing vulnerability or softness in the so called soft girl era, and lack of access to capital and funding networks. Their solution? Monthly gatherings, blending meditation and prayer with practical business workshops, including pitch practice sessions led by successful founders. They established peer accountability partnerships, emphasizing grace over grind. The outcomes have been remarkable. Participants report increased confidence pitching to investors authentically without code switching. They experience deeper work life harmony and stronger support systems outside traditional corporate ladders. The founders were inspired after hearing podcasts featuring nurses and traders who merged spirituality with career growth. They wanted similar community support locally. Within 6 months, they secured grant funding. 2 members were featured in national publications spotlighting innovative approaches to wellness centered entrepreneurship. Their model has now been replicated across 5 cities nationwide, shaping new norms around feminine leadership rooted in both strength and softness within entrepreneurial ecosystems. This is what happens when we stop chasing crowns and start carrying them. When we recognize that staying rooted in humility and gratitude creates more impact than constant self promotion. The loudest crowns don't always shine. Sometimes they bow low so something greater can be seen at the center of it all. Let me share one more powerful example that emerged from my conversation with Shannte Harvey. The Seen a Lot of Women, but God Took His Time on You campaign became a viral movement on TikTok, celebrating the unique beauty and purpose among young women of color using affirmations rooted in scripture. This digital movement echoed the same ethos that worth isn't earned through competition, but recognized through connection to something deeper. The campaign addressed pervasive feelings of invisibility and unworthiness due to societal beauty standards and underrepresentation in online and offline media platforms. It created daily affirmation challenges, encouraging users worldwide with messages like, God took his time creating you, and spotlighted diverse stories and testimonials via short form video content. Tens of thousands participated globally. Increased self worth and confidence were reported especially among teens and young adults struggling with identity and self image. The movement sparked organically after one creator shared her journey, reclaiming her self worth post burnout and rediscovering value through faith centered affirmations. The hashtag God took his time trended internationally. Several participants credited the campaign with helping them pursue new opportunities, from college applications to job interviews, with newfound boldness. The impact shifted narratives around beauty and value away from Eurocentric standards toward divinely inspired self celebration throughout digital communities serving young people of color. This is what happens when we recognize that our worth isn't determined by comparison, but by creation. When we understand that we were crafted with intention and purpose. When we stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I am exactly who I was created to be. Now, I want to be clear about something. This perspective doesn't reject ambition. It transforms it. It doesn't diminish excellence, it redefines it. The women in these examples aren't achieving less, they're achieving differently. They're creating success that doesn't just elevate themselves, but lifts entire communities. They're building legacies that don't just accumulate wealth, but distribute wisdom. As Shannte Harvey shared with me, this approach requires us to stay rooted in three key principles. First, recognize that your calling is not a competition, it's a divine assignment. When you walk aligned with your purpose and anchored in faith, there is no need to prove yourself or chase validation. Second, choose restoration over rivalry. Uplifting other women and speaking life into those who've forgotten their worth creates generational impact far greater than any individual achievement. Third, stay rooted in humility and gratitude. The loudest crowns don't always shine. Sometimes they bow low so God can be seen at the center of it all. This is the essence of what Shannte Harvey calls carrying your crown, embodying your purpose so deeply that your presence alone shifts the room, not because you're demanding attention, but because you're offering transformation. So I ask you today, what would it mean for you to stop chasing and start carrying? What would it look like to walk through the world not as someone desperately seeking validation, but as someone confidently offering contribution? Imagine waking up tomorrow and putting on your invisible crown, not with arrogance, but with reverence, not with entitlement, but with responsibility. What conversations would change? What boundaries would you set? What gifts would you finally have the courage to offer? The world doesn't need more people frantically climbing ladders to nowhere. It needs more people firmly rooted in purpose, extending branches of opportunity to others. Your crown isn't something you achieve, it's something you remember. It's not something you earn, it's something you embrace. And once you truly understand this, everything changes. So today I challenge you, stop exhausting yourself trying to prove your worth and start embodying your purpose. Stop asking if you're enough and start offering what only you can give. Stop waiting for permission to matter and start creating the impact only you can create. Because the truth is, God took his time on you. Heaven invested in you, the divine crafted you with intention and purpose. And when you finally believe that, when you finally carry that truth, not just in your mind, but in your bones, you become unstoppable. Not because you've conquered the world, but because you've conquered the lie that you need the world's approval to matter. Your crown is waiting, not ahead of you, but within you. Will you have the courage to wear it? Thank you